Hello, hello. Welcome. My name is Justin, and so what I feel called to talk about today is the stigma around addiction, especially addiction to drugs. Addiction to alcohol is very acceptable, and I feel that part of the role that I'm playing here on this planet is reducing the stigma around drug use, because I really believe that the stigma around drug use is playing a huge part in blowing up the drug problem. The thing is that if we look at what prevention looks like, we would have to rethink the entire way that this society operates. Everything is set up to keep us in these cycles, and it keeps all these businesses making money by us forgetting our own personal power and constantly seeking and searching and looking for answers from other people, paying other people for answers, trying to figure out going to see this person, this specialist, this. And I also believe that we're moving into an era, and this is just something that I can see in our future. It's like where we're moving into personal empowerment, and we are going to be creating new systems. And this is obviously not working. Like at one point, the systems as they stand, they served humanity, and they are no longer serving humanity. If you look at the collateral damage of the way the society has operated, the amount of people that are suicidal, that are depressed, that have all of these mental health disorders, like it can only go on so long. The amount that our consumerism and all that is affecting the environment. I mean, humanity will not survive if we continue operating in the way that we're operating right now. So, on the addiction thing, I just want to point out, first of all, that alcohol is a drug. It is toxic for our bodies. It is no different than any other drug. I believe the only reason that people get as out of control with drugs versus alcohol, I don't think it has as much to do with how addicting the drugs are versus the alcohol at all. I believe we're all drawn to different substances for different reasons, and there's so much stigma around the drugs. The stigma inspires shame, and the shame and the guilt, we feel so guilty and shameful about ever doing drugs that we keep it so under the radar, and then it's like we kind of just want, because then you can feel that you take on all those things that we hear about, how bad drugs are, how awful drug addicts are, how terrible they are. They're, these low life, whatever, and so if we buy into those beliefs, then we just go full force into those things. And I just don't think it's productive at all. And I believe, and with alcohol, it's like we view it as classy, a way to take the edge off. We present it that way in all kinds of movies and everything like that. And then with meth, especially, we consider meth addicts crazy. There's so much stigma around meth. Oh, well, all these things that happen whenever you do meth. Here's the thing that I found through my own meth use and meth addiction is that, first of all, I've done meth for over 10 years, and I don't look like faces of meth. So, and yes, people do end up looking like that. And that presenting these images and trying to scare people, shame people into some certain way of doing things only actually causes the rebellion. Because it's like, we're going to put on you these things that we think you need to do. And it causes, and it's like, I see where it causes rebellion. There's a way that we can be compassionate and retell the story that we tell about drugs. And yes, absolutely talk about the consequences. I would never advocate for people to go use meth. I also know that I do not have control over that. So thinking that we can control people from the outside in, I believe we're moving out of that time. It's very obvious that that is not working. Then we just need more and more external solutions. Look at the amount of shit that is locked up in stores now. It's like, okay, maybe, and I'm not trying to be like that, but I kind of like, it is frustrating, because it's like, well, we don't want to look at the fact that like people can't afford to survive, and we don't want to look at the fact that we are one interconnected system. So if we keep shutting pieces of that we are one. We are one interconnected system with the earth, with nature, all of it. Our consciousness is all connected. And what's interesting about this is the ones that are in the top, they know these things. They know about all this. They know that this is not all there is, but they're feeding us a narrative that says that we get so caught in this image, that we get so caught in consuming, so we forget who we are. And like, I just think it's important that we look at that. Like, how do we start to operate more like an interconnected system? Is there steps we can take to start doing that? Because when people feel more connected and a part of, they're not looking for some way to escape constantly. And I think we're all escaping and distracting ourselves on some level, like in this society. It is overstimulating. It's overproductive. And all of that is causing so many issues. So I just think that, we've been taught for a long time to just like blame the drug addicts. And like, we can't just leave out the piece of how society as a whole is creating these issues. And this is really what I feel called to talk about. So this is just kind of a little introduction on this topic, and there's some more things that I want to share. Know that I'm always sharing from a heart-centered place, honestly, with love and without judgment. I believe everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be in this moment. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should, and we all have a role to play. And I believe that we're moving into a time where more of us are going to step into our divine role on this planet. And as we do that, more and more of us can start to come together and create new things that work for everybody, because things are falling apart. And so know that, yes, I do get really passionate. And yes, I get frustrated with some things because I was I was kicked down by this society in many, many ways for most of my life. So then just trying to go back and conform to this society after it continually kicked me down, and then just go back and, because you're a failure if you don't, like, I'm like, I for whatever reason am this character. This is not me. I am you. But this character came into this life more connected to, or more, my layer of forgetting who we all truly are was thinner. And our society kicks those people down. So when those people are here to teach us something, and I believe most of them have ended up on the streets, they've ended up committing suicide, they've ended up, so yeah, I feel really passionate about it because I believe, we need to, there's some changes that we can make, and these people have a lot to offer the world moving into this new era. So I think this is very important to talk about. I think it's very important to reduce this stigma. I think it's very important that we start to connect to each other's humanity and to our pain and our struggles, rather than I have this kind and you have this kind. Like, we all struggle in different ways, and we all perceive each struggle differently. So that's just a little introduction on this. Thank you guys for listening. I'll be back soon.